Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are cracking the code on how plants actually make their own food. Process you have probably heard of since primary school, but we are going to deep into the actual science behind the process of photosynthesis. And remember, this topic is very important topic for your exam. So let's see what you are going to learn. Or by the end of this video, you will be able to list the three absolute must-have components for photosynthesis and explain the exact step-by-step chemical process and understand why this process is literally lifesaver for plant growth and our entire planet. Now, let's see what is photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? Put simply, it's a process where some green plants and other specialized organisms, they will trap the sunlight as a light energy and they will use the raw material like carbon dioxide, water to prepare their food. That food we will call it as carbohydrate. Okay, so in simple words, some green plants or special organisms, they will use the sunlight and raw material as carbon dioxide, water to prepare the carbohydrate. And now this carbohydrate, they will use as their energy for their building of cells, repairing the tissues and growth of plants. For all those things, this carbohydrate will be used as an energy for the plants. Now see, for trapping the sunlight, they will use they have a special pigment. That green color pigment is called chlorophyll. Now let's see what do plants need for photosynthesis. You can see the equation, chemical equation. So that chemical equation tells we need a carbon dioxide, water, then we need the sunlight. Now you can see here something called a chlorophyll. Okay, this chlorophyll, what they will do, this chlorophyll will trap the sunlight. Okay, now by using these two raw material and light energy as an energy for preparing their food, they will create a glucose. Glucose means it's a type of carbohydrate, and we will get two byproducts. One is oxygen, another one is water. Okay, now let's see in detail. First we need a carbon dioxide. Okay, now let's see how the carbon dioxide is absorbed. If you are seeing the leaf, in leaves we have some small pores or holes called stomata. Okay, if you are seeing this water, stomata. Now these stomata have two main functions. First one is to gas exchange. Okay, they will exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. You know, for photosynthesis, we need carbon dioxide and we will get a byproduct as oxygen. So they will absorb the carbon dioxide and they will release the oxygen. If you are seeing the respiration, we have opposite to photosynthesis. They will absorb the oxygen and they will release the carbon dioxide. Clear? Now, one main function is to gas exchange. They will absorb what they need and they will release what they don't want. Next important function is for transpiration. Transpiration, what they will do is they will let out excess water vapor, or we can tell it is a evaporation of water. If you are seeing plants, plants will use only 1% of water which we are providing, and they have around 99% of excess amount of water. This excess amount of water will be evaporated through the stomata. That evaporation of excess amount of water through the stomata, we will call it as transpiration. So stomata have two main functions. First one is to exchange the gas. Next one is for transpiration of water. Now, for these two functions, they need to open or close the stomata. So we need to open this stomata for absorbing or releasing these gases for transpiration purpose. Okay, every time they want to open this because there is a loss of water also. So we'll see how they are opening. You can see these two. Okay, these two cells in the stomata, we will call it as guard cell. Okay, these are called a guard cell. Now, during the daytime, these guard cells, what they will do, they will actively pump the ions into this particular stomata. Okay, they will get a lot of ions in this stomata. Now you can see here we have a lot of ions. That means we have a less concentration of water. Water concentration is very less. Now what will happen? Now here we have a osmosis. Osmosis, what they will do, from higher concentration of water to lower concentration of water, this water will move. Here, when they are getting a lot of water, they will slowly open the guard cells. When they are opening the guard cells, here you can see some small holes. These holes are called a stomatal pore. This is called a stomatal pore. Okay, these holes in the stomata, we will call it as stomatal pore. Now, by using these stomatal pores, they can exchange the gas as well as they can do the transpiration. And almost night time or when they have a less amount of water, when they are in the drought situation, these guard cells, they will lose the water. They will lose the water. Now, when they are losing the water, they will close the guard cells. When they are closing guard cells, there is no stomatal pores. So, once it is closed, there is no exchange of gas or no transpiration. This is how they will save the water and they will remove the excess amount of water and they will do the gas exchange. Now, let's see next component. Once we saw how the carbon dioxide is we are getting by using the stomata. Now remember here, stomata, we have a guard cells which will control the opening and closing of stomata. Next we have a water. This water they will absorb through the roots. After roots we have something called a xylem. Now through these roots plants are absorbing the water and they will send to the leaves. Now we go to carbon dioxide as well as water. Now what we need? We need sunlight. This sunlight, it is trapped by the green pigment called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll will absorb the sunlight. Okay, now we have everything. We have the carbon dioxide, we have the water, and we have the sunlight. So, let's see how does this photosynthesis work. Okay, here we go to carbon dioxide, we have the water, we have the sunlight. Now we'll see how they are making glucose and byproduct oxygen and water. So, here step 1, what they will do, they will absorb the sunlight by using the chlorophyll. Okay, now chlorophyll is trap the sunlight. This sunlight is trapping in the chlorophyll in the form of light energy. Okay, sunlight is absorbed in the form of light energy. Now we have the light energy in our leaves. Now what they will do, they will convert this light energy into chemical energy. Okay, after absorbing the sunlight, chlorophyll absorbing the sunlight in the form of light energy, after that they are converting into chemical energy. Now this chemical energy, this converted chemical energy, they will use for splitting of water molecule. Okay, when you know that we have the water molecule, we have a H2O. Okay, here we have the H2O. Now what will happen? This H2O is splitting. Here you can see we have a total 2 into 2, 4 hydrogen. Okay, they are splitting into 4 hydrogen and we have 2 oxygen. Okay, this oxygen water, these plants are releasing as a byproduct. Okay, when they are splitting the water molecule, they will get hydrogen and oxygen. This oxygen, what they will do? They will release outside, or they will exchange to the atmosphere. So we will get enough oxygen in the atmosphere. Here, mainly you have to remember, what you remember, this sunlight is used, sun's light energy, it is converting into chemical energy for splitting of water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, this hydrogen plants will store in the form of NADPH. Okay, this will be stored as in the form of NADPH. And here, remember, here we need a chemical energy. Okay, for splitting of water, we need the chemical energy. From where we are getting this chemical energy? We are getting from the sunlight. So, this particular step, we will call it as light-dependent reaction. Because for this particular reaction, we need the sunlight. So, we will call this reaction as a light-dependent reaction. Clear? Now, this process have one more name that is called photolysis of water. Photolysis of water. Now you already heard about the electrolysis of water. By using electricity, we are splitting the water molecule. Photolysis of water means by using the photons or light energy, we are splitting the water molecule. So for this process, remember this photolysis of water, we need the sunlight. So we will call this as a light dependent reaction. Next we'll see what is the final step. Now we have splitted water molecule into hydrogen, we have hydrogen and we have the carbon dioxide. Here remember this step, they are not using any light energy. So we will call it as light independent reaction. Means even sunlight is there or not, they won't care. They are not using this sunlight for this particular step. So we can tell this as a light independent reaction. Here see this hydrogen and carbon dioxide they will use for making the glucose. Okay, and glucose it's a type of sugar or we can tell carbohydrate which plants will make energy. By using this carbohydrate plants will make energy. So this step we will call it as reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Okay, this step we will call it as a reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Here what happened? Here we got the carbohydrate. Now these plants will use the carbohydrate to make energy. So this what happening in the photosynthesis. These four steps are very, very important. First what will happen? Sunlight absorbed by the chlorophyll. Then light energy is converting into chemical energy to split the water molecule. By splitting water molecule, we will get a hydrogen and a oxygen. This oxygen, plant will send it as a byproduct or releasing into atmosphere. And this hydrogen, they will store in the form of NADPH. Now, this stored hydrogen and carbon dioxide will be used to make the carbohydrate. And this step, we will call it as reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. So see, here photosynthesis, how they are important for the plants and as well as for the planets. Plants, how they will use this carbohydrate, they are using for the making energy. This will be used for their growth and everything. Now here we have the byproduct as oxygen. And in the atmosphere we have a carbon dioxide. Okay, this carbon dioxide we are not using. So these plants what they will do? They will maintain the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide by absorbing the carbon dioxide and releasing the oxygen. They will absorb carbon dioxide and they will release the oxygen. So that here they will balance the oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by using the process of photosynthesis.